hello, good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Fox, here on the panel tonight is the one and only Bridgeman and the legend that is Albert. Evening, chaps.
Evening, Ox. Evening, Bridge.
Can I say a big good evening to you two guys? Huge good evening to the guys in the lobby and to all the Rangers fans listening in all over the world. Good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio.
Yeah, Bridge, this Albert's giving you competition for the fans, mate. The mail, he's getting more mail now.
Oh, I'm not surprised. He's a very popular chap, you know, Albert. Very popular.
We get the letters. They come through, and there's usually one a month I get. That's from my mom. GFK, he gets about 2. One of them's always gets Strathclyde Police on it, so I don't understand. He gets 2. There's quite a big portion for Portbear, and Stardow's got the young team, you know, all the young bucks, you know.
Yeah.
If he can perform, sometimes he has problems, but he does all right sometimes. And then there's your pile, which is usually massive, but I'll tell you what, Albert, I don't know if it's a certain clientele he's gone for, should we say. He's aiming at the Blue Rins Brigade, but he's getting...
Well, that wouldn't be far wrong either. And a very powerful lobby within the Rangers area, the Blue Rins Brigade, that's for sure.
I just bought a new photocopier.
All right. I can't work it out what the smell of the letters. Is it tweed?
Tweed, aye. That's what it is, definitely tweed, aye. And I go shooting.
Anyway, how are you lads? We're starting to build up to a big game. Bridgeman, it's the biggest game of the season on Saturday.
Indeed it is, pal. Indeed it is. And I'm quite sure our club is good.
Individuals, yes?
Yeah, indeed.
Yes. See, if we win on Saturday and then they have to put us in lockdown after the game because the second spike comes quite quickly and we're on the team that's played the game, will we win the league?
Oh, absolutely. There's no way they could change it any other way, could they? They're going to make something up now, could they? They don't make these things up.
What do you think, Albert? Is that fair?
Oh, it's definitely fair. But as a dignified, decent club, do you think we would accept it?
Aye. Of course we would. Sporting integrity at all time. We wouldn't want to be under the spotlight, mate.
Correct, mate. We don't want asterisks next to our name.
No. Not at all. So we're building up. Pittodrie, mate, always been a difficult place at any time, even with good teams.
I'm expecting the normal up there. No, I mean, no matter what team they put out, you know what's going to happen. It'll be the usual kicking match and the usual intimidation, trying it, and the usual carry on, the nonsense we get. But I'm quite confident we'll rise above it.
Well said, pal. I hope that's what happens.
Bridgeman, it has always been a tough place for us. We've had some good results up there, but tight park. I'm not going to say hostile atmosphere, but again, where the crowd's close, and I think it was always a tight park. It's actually favoured Aberdeen, if I'm being honest, rather than any crowd intimidation. I don't think the boys bother about that.
Mm-hmm. I think Rangers will probably relish the game. The lack of Aberdeen fans there will probably be more, shall we say, beneficial to ourselves than to them. And I believe somebody's saying that their star forward, last night they said it was that the top man was injured and out for a couple of months possibly. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that.
He's out for 4 months and their cover's injured as well, the boy Maine.
So that'll do me fine. So if Rangers can't go up there now and put a fight up, and I'll go with the old one for me. 1-0 will do me fine. Come away with 3 points. 1-0. Obviously, I want 10 now. Why not?
Imagine going to watch football with him. You only see 38 goals all season of all better.
Oh, I know. Just tell you one. I think we'll go up there and I think we'll do ourselves proud. But again, my concern, as I said after the Coventry game, is going up there and they're going to play that exact same way. The exact same way. There's no doubt about it. And that's the only concern I've got. But if we get it sorted like we did in the second half, as you mentioned, folks, against Coventry, we do that again for the beginning. I can see us doing them, no bother.
I would have a wee punt on Rangers to win by more than 2 goals, mate. To score more than 2 goals, sorry. To score more than 2 goals.
That's a fair shout, mate. That's a fair shout.
You know?
Especially if Morelos is on fire and Kent and Hadji are on fire. But I think Big Aribo is going to be... you need to be careful with Big Aribo because they're going to target him. There's no doubt about that. Mm-hmm. But I think Big Aribo might sneak in with a couple of goals.
All right.
And Hadji.
I hope everybody was on the 7 o'clock at Musselburgh tonight. Broxy won. Yeah. 11-1.
11-1. That's a good wee shout, eh?
Aye. I think Fox plundered it, mate. Plundered it.
Did he, aye?
Aye.
How about on a line?
No, aye. Well, it's Thursday, innit? Pension day, innit? He was right into it.
Pension day. Love it.
No. Anyway, so if people want to join us, we'll start building up to Saturday's game. Aye. What's the number, Bridge?
The number's 0141 356 1972.
Or join us at Skype at rangersradio.online. We brought in a call with the one and only Old School Blue, who's been supported by Young Fox this evening. And first off the rank is my good friend, JFK.
Good evening, Oxjer. Good evening, Bridgeman, and good evening, Old Bear. Bridgeman, how are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing very well, thanks, Jimmy. Once again, thank you very much for the kind thoughts.
Yeah, you're sounding stronger every day. Good to hear. Saturday, guys. Can't wait. I know it's behind closed doors, but can't wait. I heard you talking about the crowd. I think there'll be no crowd will benefit us better than a ball of sheep. Having like many has attended the sheepery many times, it's a very intimidating place to go at the best of times, even just walking to the game. But even at the game, it's where they put the teddy bears in that bit of the stand, But I'm looking forward to it immensely. Whether the big boy was injured, I still think I'm like Oxford. I'm going for this to win by 2 clear goals. Saturday, I think we'll win, with or without Alfie.
I think Alfie's playing, mate. I think so.
Yeah.
I think that speculation's died down. I mean,
yeah.
Obviously we have to do a lot of reading on here, and Albert, he's still pigeon. He still gets his messages per pigeon, but you do a lot of reading, and social media is just took things to a different level. The way that you wouldn't think that grown men would phone people when they're having their lunch to tell them that a transfer is happening. It never happens. You wouldn't think that would happen, would you?
No.
Bridgeman, you wouldn't think that would happen, would you?
No.
Well, if you're a nice person, you would never think that. Never think.
No. Would you, JFK?
No, I think it's scandalous that somebody gets a phone call when they're on their nose bag and that and gives him false information. But
and ruined the poor guy's dinner.
I nearly choked in his nose bag. So
you ruined his dinner. You never put him off.
Hey, don't be pointing the finger at me now. I know. I think we should rename Facebook Fakebook, mate. There's that much stuff on it. They know it's just unbelievable.
It's a great medium and great, but obviously it's just a bit interesting. Having that and story, and you get enough stories out there, Albert. Eventually, one of them will be true. Eh?
Oh, I see. If you scattered on it, you're likely to get one right. I think the one they'll get right is Rangers will play in white and Sunday and Saturday. But as far as any of the rest of it go, I think they'll go to orang. You know what I mean? But I don't. They see the rumours about transfers. It just becomes tedious, doesn't it? It really does. It's just annoying now. At one time, we were all gullible enough, and it was just the papers to fall for it and buying papers and listening to that crap. But now, modern times, you don't even need to listen to it. It's just rubbish, absolute rubbish. But it's just, for me, it just gives me a sore head. It really does. I just want to know if we're going to sign somebody, is it true or is it no true? But you're never going to get that, are we?
Till you see him standing in the Murray Park on that big circle with the scarf behind over his head. Does it really matter? The rest of it, does it? No,
it's a done deal. That's it. That's what I like as well, mate. And to be honest, that's what I just wait for now. I don't bother with the rest. I don't even see the speculate. I don't even read it anymore. I just see the headlines, but I don't even read it. I just don't even click it. Nah, I'm not even reading that. Brilliant. And then you see who's writing it. You're going, I'm definitely not reading that. So,
right, Young Port Bears joined us as well. Oh, Evening, Port Bear.
How we doing, lads?
Right,
Hope
Port.
you're all very
Hi,
well
Port.
tonight. All right,
How
Port,
doing,
how
Port?
you
Everything
doing, mate?
okay?
Very good doing here in Port Glasgow, mate. Obviously,
What do
you
you
probably
mean they're
seen
talking
it.
about having a lockdown just for Port Glasgow?
Ah,
I've got to
no,
say, I suggested that years ago and people laughed at me.
I heard it's a lock up.
They're going to fences in. Aye. STV were doing the night down the Port Town over all over the news, so you know, shame it's not in positive, but the wee pharmacy down here is getting locked up, I think, so that's the way it looks.
Right, who
All's
was
going
doing?
well.
Who was doing the? Who was doing the subtitles?
Oh, I've no idea. I don't have no idea. Oh, they pick some people for it, so they do. They pick some people for it. You think them, you know, like people in Port Glasgow, you think, you know, are they going to find some decent people, but they didn't. They didn't.
Oh, what a shame. I hope everybody in your family's staying safe.
Okay, everybody's
Hope
safe.
everybody's well. Right, I've got the full intellects on. I'm going to bring Mr. Fox in. He likes a challenge. Evening, Fox.
I don't like a challenge. What are you talking about?
Right, I've got a wee trivia question for these lads, right?
Right.
Here we go.
Right. Now listen intently. Since the English Premier League started, there's been 48 teams in it. Okay, I'm not expecting you to name them. What I want you to name is the top 10 teams that have accrued the most points. I'll date with age, I'll go down the panel with age, and if you get one right, you're out. Yeah? Tough game, this. Top 10 in order. Yes.
Is that since it began 1992?
93 it started, wasn't it?
And 93 was it?
Yeah.
Leeds were the last winners, weren't they? The old first division. You might be right, 93. I think the first trophy was given at 92 it started. Right.
92, 93 it was. Leeds
The
United won
teams that accrued the most points. Yes, the top 10 in order. So we'll go to Bridgeman looking for number 1. Come off a mute, Bridge.
Yes, Arsenal for me.
So, Bridge, unfortunately, mate, you're out.
Right, okay.
Yes. We go to the next oldest on the list. I think it might be you, Fox. We're looking for number 1 for you, mate.
I'll go for Man United.
Yep. Number 2, Albert.
Man City.
Albert. Sorry, mate.
Night.
JFK, number 2. They've already been mentioned.
Liverpool.
I'm sorry, JFK. You're out. I give you a big clue there.
I know, but no, I'm not. It's a stupid blooming question anyway.
Can I come in on that one?
No.
I'm with you, mate. It's a stupid question.
Number 2.
I'm with you, mate.
Come on, Port.
Arsenal.
Well done. Number 3, Fox. Come on,
Game of
Fox.
dominoes, Jimmy.
Aye.
Come on, Fox.
A game of charades, old bear. Sounds like. Can you see me now? The whole
I'll
thing.
I'll go for Chelsea.
Correct. Number 4, Port Bear.
I'll go for Man City.
You're out, mate.
I'm out.
Oh, is that me one already then? That was quick.
If you get the next one.
The next one after Chelsea.
Aye.
Going to be longevity in the division. Spurs.
Number 4 was Liverpool, mate. Number 5,
Oh, well.
Spurs. Number 6, Everton. Number 7, Man City, number 8 Newcastle, number 9 Aston Villa, and
Oh, so-
number 10 West Ham.
So that's a bit of a miss.
That's
We to
fair.
get them in order then.
Aye.
Like that was a key question. That I got Liverpool, so I still should have got it.
Come on, Jimmy. He stayed
Jimmy.
in order.
Oh,
So what did I get for winning that?
A prize,
Oh,
mate, a prize. A
Okay.
mystery one.
An early night.
Right, anybody, any thoughts? Bridgeman, how you seen us lining up tomorrow night? How on Saturday? Who do you see? I think the place that will have the main discussion might be the midfield. But how do you see us lining up?
Well, just the other night we were mentioning the new centre half it was in, and whether Gerrard would actually put him straight in. I actually don't know what Gerrard will do with that, but obviously the goalkeeper McGregor, and it would be Tavernier, Goldson, and you know, I think he need to play the big Swede.
Right, there's no way he's fit enough, mate.
I know, but I don't know whether it's him or the new boy. And if we're going to put one of them in,
There's
right, the new boy will get a chance as well. He
There's
must be
that-
in a chance.
There's absolutely no way. I don't even think the Swede will get stripped.
You might be right. No, I'm not arguing with that. I'm not arguing at all.
He's played 45 minutes in 8 months, mate.
Yeah. But the lad that they've just signed, he might get a chance to come in.
He might get a strip, he might play, we don't know. So,
Aye.
all right, so that's what you're going for. So,
That's him, yeah.
What about the rest of the team? How do you see he's lining up, mate?
McLaughlin, Tavernier, Goldson, Edmondson, Barisic, midfielder, Aribo, Jack, and who played against Coventry?
Kamara.
Kamara, and the three forwards, Morelos, Hadji, and Kent.
Okay.
That's a good shout, that, by the way. It's a really good shout.
Anybody see it different?
Aye, mate. I can't change what I said. I don't think Morelos will play, and I think Balogun will come in. I think because Balogun's up to match sharpness, he's just finished his season. He's fit as a fiddle. I think, as much as Edmondson's not put a fit wrong, I think we'll need to be ready and, ready to rock and roll it back. I know we've not put a fit wrong defensively so far, Oxford, and I still feel strongly about Alfred going to the door. I don't think he's worth the risk, mate. I think we've got to. But the midfield's the same as all players. Everywhere else is the same. It's just Balogun and Morelos
What are you
is out.
basing the Alfie thing? If you recognise that was a storm in a teacup.
I do, mate. I know what you're saying, but I just think there's legs in that yet. I think there's legs in that yet, mate. I think there's definitely legs in that. I think Rangers, particularly, maybe want the money or need the money to reinvest in the team. Oxford, I really do. I really believe it.
All right.
I think
Oxford-
McGregor will start. I'll
Aye,
not be
yeah.
McLaughlin.
Agree.
I think the rest of the All Bears team there will be bang on.
Yep.
Did he say Edmondson along with Big Goldson?
Believe
Aye.
he did.
Aye, well that's the team. I think that team picks itself at the moment.
All right. No room for Stephen Davis. Is that Stephen Davis been moving down the pecking order? Is that what we're thinking?
he's got an injury, Oxford, isn't he? And I think the gaffer's trying to maybe wrap him in cotton wool. I think probably what will happen with Stephen Davis, he'll swap about depending what game he's available for or fit for. I think he will become a bit part player this season.
I think he'll be one of the 24 subs.
That's a great point, mate. Anybody any strong views on the change of the rules of the substitution? I know you have Fox first.
I've not got strong views on it. I just think it's a mockery, mate. 5 substitutes in a game. I think that's all wrong. Stick with the 3 and go with the 3. I think we could maybe see in games with this going on that we could be sitting comfortable at 2-0 and over the space of 20 minutes changing 5 players and maybe losing 2 late goals or something, Stick with what we've got. It's a mockery, as I say.
GFK.
I'm with the Fox camp. I think it's rubbish. You're allowed to have 9 subs on the bench and use 5 for that 9. I think it's absolute. I just don't see the sense in it. I really don't. You know, I know there's water breaks now every 22 minutes, and there's certain times now you're only allowed to sub.
No water breaks, Jimmy. No water breaks.
What are they then?
There's no water breaks. That was just done through the Premier League because they were playing at the height of the summer down in England. That stops now, I think.
Oh, I don't know. They were talking about it on the radio today. I'm sure that's the times when you're allowed to do your substitutions for whatever reason. But I might have picked that up wrong.
No,
Fox.
up here, Jimmy, it's they've swapped the water breaks for swimming lessons.
Aye. But on the 5 subs, I think it's just a rubbish idea. 9 subs on the bench, and I'm away Fox on it. If a team's allowed to bring in on, I don't know if I'm trying to read it the other day. I couldn't make head nor tail of it. Can they bring 5 on at the one time? Can they bring 3 on at the one time? What can they do?
That's a fair point, because see, honestly, you could actually swap your whole defence, including the keeper, in a one goal. It's mad. It's total madness.
How would you feel, Albert? How would you feel, Port Bear, if you were the 10th sub and you never go on the bench? You take the hit, wouldn't you?
Aye. I tell you, Ox, it's been a talking point today.
Can you mind your language, please?
Sorry.
You're not in Port Glasgow now.
Sorry, I apologise.
It's going to this is fresh in my mind. It's going to cost clubs money, because if you're on the bench, you're entitled to any win bonuses, isn't you?
Right. Can I just?
You're going to have to build a bigger bench.
Yeah. Here's a rule here. It's been thingied by the SPFL. 5 substitutes are available from 9 picked, and it says. But the big change in the rule says that the 5 subs can be used over 3 separate breaks during the game, meaning they won't be allowed to split the 5 up to waste time. So, who stipulates that
what it means? You can make 3 substitutions, but twice you can put 2 players on and off.
No, it says here there's going to be 3 breaks in the game.
No, during 3 breaks in the game. So if after 5 minutes, if you wanted to put 2 subs on, then after 10 minutes you wanted to put another 2 on, then any time in the rest of the game you can put 1 on. That's 3 breaks in the game.
Aye, but that's what Fox was saying. I mean, what happens? I mean, you're 2-0 up and they can put on 5 players in the last 10, 15 minutes.
They can do it 2-2-1.
Aye.
You can split it 2.5, and just do 2.
Aye, but 2.5 would be all right. But
2.5 would be all right.
But that's the same as what you can do the snow with 3 subs, isn't it?
Aye.
Anyway, if people want to join us, give their thoughts on that. That'd be Murder Bridge sitting on the bench here, 9 sub every week. That'd be murder for you. Right. What's the number, Bridge?
The number's 0141 356 1972.
Or join us at Skype at rangersradio.online. We've got on the call with Old School Blue. Great to hear people's thoughts building up to Saturday, and also the thoughts on the substitution. We'll be joined with somebody who was never substitute, Rudy Bear. How are we doing, Rudy?
Evening, Oxter. Evening, Bridgeman. Jimmy, Mark, Albert. How you doing, guys?
How are you, Rudy? Good.
All right, Rudy.
I'm good, Bridgeman. You sound much stronger tonight, Bridgeman.
Oh, thank you, pal. We're getting better all the time. That bird of mine's battering lumps at me.
Smashing. Glad to hear it, Bridgeman. I think this 5 substitute thing's a load of nonsense, Oxter. In all honesty, I see absolutely no need for it whatsoever. You can what they're basically telling you is, by the end of the game, you can have basically taken half of your team off the park and replaced it. That's a load of nonsense, and that's ultimately it for me. You take half of your team off in a league game or a cup game. You can take half of your team off and you can replace them. That's just a load of nonsense. There's very few games where you're going to need 5 replacements. Though, in saying that, if you look at the second half of last season, I think we could have been doing at times a replacement. But I mean, in all honesty, I mean, how many times in a season are you going to have to replace 5 players? You know, and maybe it's about giving teams options. I don't really know why they've went down this road, to be honest. Anything I've read about it, I haven't really made much sense out of anything I've read. It just seems overkill to me, Ox. In all honesty, you know,
the talk about players because they're going to be playing a lot of games in the close and they're going to be moving. They're going to be in the red zone with their fitness and their muscle fatigue and that.
Yeah.
What better?
For me,
Nothing
mate,
better than playing, eh?
there's nothing better than playing, mate. But you know, for me, with the 5 subs, it's open for abuse, mate. In my opinion, I'll give you a few examples. See what I've seen so far in some of the Premier League games with the 4th and 5th sub, especially. It's getting used to time waste, mate. And then you know how Rangers seem to be targeted with the hatchet men in Scottish football. So what I think will allow to happen is, like, see, you play Motherwell or you play Aberdeen or all these physical teams that play against us. What's going to happen is these guys will all take a book in the first half and they'll hammer our players, and then all these managers will just say, right, we'll take the ones all booked off. Right, go on you back on and you keep kicking. I think it's open to be abused, mate. You know, and you could, use these sort of loopholes to book teams off the park.
Practical.
If you get 2 players booked at half time, you might give them a hook. Put 2 on, and then you've still got 3 subs to make in the second half.
Exactly, and they've already injured your players, and then they can say to them guys and all that, you just keep kicking. You know what I mean?
You say, Mark, teams are going to use it to their advantage, obviously. It's 100%, I agree with you. I just think it's just a nonsense, in all honesty, I really do. But hey, I don't make the decisions in Scottish football, unfortunately.
We don't want to become part of the game, Rudy, and that's, in my opinion, that's what's going to happen. It's going to be stop, start, you know, and it's going to become, like Albert just says, it's going to become one of the tactics in the game. You know,
but I never had a lot of. I couldn't when you had 7 subs and you can put 3 on. The 4 that don't go on, if that happens for a couple of weeks, you've then got to look to put games on so that they can play, because there's no reserve fixtures now or such during the week. You know,
exactly.
Any game time on the park.
That's how when they done away with reserve football and then made all these subs. You're going, this is no beneficial to the players themselves. You know what I mean? Fitness wise or anything wise, put it that way. But one of the things you've got as well, if the bigger teams say are going to be 4 and 5 nothing up in a game, they're taking their 5 players after rest them, so they're getting an unfair advantage for getting into next games after that. So it's going to work for some teams and not going to work for other teams, and that's unfair. Substitutes are always meant to be there for injured players. It's just recently in the last 20 years or whatever, it's became very tactical, and it's just nonsense. I don't even like 3 subs, to be honest with you. That's just me. I'm old school right enough, but it's just nonsense now. It's just going to get a farce, a total farce. The game's going to turn into.
GFK.
I'm in the same camp as other guys here. It's going to do for the game. That was a great analogy that Port Bear said. You know, they kick you off the park. You know, guys getting booked, then just bring another 2 on and vice. You know, and that'll just continue like that. And the time wasting that could happen in the last 10 minutes of the game, if they've got 3 separate periods, they're allowed to bring subs on. You know,
you could do that last season, couldn't you?
You could do that last season, but you're talking about bringing three players on, and you're talking about bringing 3 players on who've got fresh legs. I know at that time, you know, and they could have brought 2 on at half time. I just don't see the sense. Why don't you just keep it to 5 and 3 subs to be used at the 5 instead of doing all this 9 and all that? It's just, I don't know. It's just stupidity at the highest level. Whoever thought it up? I can just copy what happened in South, I suppose, isn't it?
Do you think if they'd have made it 2 youth players, 3 subs plus 2 youth players, it might give the young boys a wee chance of some game time?
Possibly, but I'm not into that.
I don't think you can tell. That's the problem, folks. You can't tell people in businesses in a competition who they have to put on the park.
It used to be a rule box, didn't it?
Aye, on the bench.
We used to have that, didn't we? Aye. We used to have it.
On the bench,
How many of them actually go on the park?
Right. I know, I suppose. But I get Fox's thinking. You know, we touched on it last night about youth sort of systems. It would be a way to try and get them back into the sort of first team where they'd be training alongside them. But as you say, Docs, would they get on the park? That's a big question.
There'll be a youth player in one of the 9, won't they? They'll bring a youth along just to get the experience.
Well, I think ultimately, Ox, you just find you bring your 3 first squad team players on, as opposed to bring your 2 youth players on. I don't even think that makes any sense. You know, if you're going to bring a youth player on, just have him there. You know, he's on the bench. He's one of your subs if you need him. You know, I brought Patterson in the past. Young males played before, stuff like that. I don't see any sense in sort of, you know, Market said that we had that rule before. Never made any sense to me back in, and it wouldn't again if they tried that again, you know, because you've got to put your 3 top pros on. If you've got 3 top pros sitting on the bench, they get on the park first before the boys do, you know. I would just go back to 5 and 3. Simple. Keep it simple. 5 and 3. You know what I mean? Stop a lot of shit. We'll see as the season goes on how this unwinds. And I think Mark's made a really good point there. So he has. We know what the Scottish League's like, you know, some of the hatchet men. That's going to be used to the same effect as Mark's just spoke about, Oxley, I think, my opinion.
I get where he's coming from, mate. If I was the manager of a team and 2 players would be put to half time, when you've got all these subs sitting there, they're coming up.
Yep.
Anyway, we've been joined by a caller. Evening, caller.
Hello, how's it going?
All right. What's your name, mate?
Stephen.
Stephen?
Aye.
How are we doing, mate? What's on your mind, mate?
Well, I've got a few wee things, right. It's not about the subs or anything like that. I think that's a ridiculous thing, right? But right, I've got a concern, right? You know, I've been watching what we've been doing this season, right? So far, pre-season, absolutely spot on again, right? It's the same as the last couple of years. Some of the football we've played is brilliant. We're moving the ball about well. Everything's gone brilliant. See the kind of football we're playing. See when we come up against any team, that's the kind of football that will destroy teams, no matter what shape or what formation they play. My concern is we need to play the ball on the deck, right? I've noticed that we're not playing a lot of long balls. We're not sort of pinging the ball across the pitch as much as we should. And I'm wondering, if Rangers got a plan, does anybody know what's happening with this pitch? Is there any changes? Because in the winter, that's when we seem to fall apart.
Oh, there's been a lot of work done on it, mate. There was a disease in it last year, mate. A good disease last year, and they said it would take 6 weeks to get it out. And obviously, they couldn't do that while the games were going on. They were trying to do the best they could, and obviously they've got the disease. And have you seen the pitch on Saturday? It looked excellent. It's always the.
I've not seen it. No.
Against Coventry, it looked first class.
Because that's the thing. We've not got any of these sort of players that your typical Scottish players that just get tore in and are booting about. We seem to have a team of football players, right, which is brilliant. During see these times where you're facing Ross County in the Highlands, a January freezing cold. That's when we need the type of players.
Do you think if you're playing these kinds of games, you could do with a Greek goalie? Ross County in January. Do you think a Greek goalie would work well? Freezing cold up there?
I don't know, but we just need a bit of dig, I think, in the midfield. And if I heard
give me a kind of player. You're talking Ian Ferguson type?
Maybe I love Fergie, but he was a maniac at times. You know what I mean? You need somebody that's going to stay in the park most of the time. But I don't know.
Very seldom set up, mate.
Is that right?
Aye, very good record. You'd be surprised, mate, wasn't he? He's ordered that as often as you would think. What kind of player would you have then? Who springs to mind?
I've been talking to my brother about this the last couple of days, and there's nobody that springs to mind, and that's worrying. That's worrying because I don't know. When you look at your Motherwells and your Hearts and all that kind of stuff, they have got the type of players, but they're no. It's not the type of player that is good enough for us in the same instance. You know what I mean?
Well, you're not alone in that. Port Berry, well, obviously we've heard about rumours about the South African lad, but it's been a wee bit quiet at the moment. But he's not the first guy to say on this show that we need a sort of traditional ball winner.
No, mate, no, definitely no. It's something personally I've been craving out, asking for. I know people will say that Jack and Kamara are your the deep line midfielders, but are they ball winners, Ox? I doubt, they do tackle and they win their fair share. but they're not absolute killers, mate. They're not ball winners for me. They're very comfortable on the ball. They're nice to watch. That they do go along the pitch. They pass well, but I just think we need another wee bit of different type. I think we only need one. What I'd prefer to see is one holding midfielder, all times auction, and two more creative guys alongside that one guy. So I get what the guy's coming for, but unfortunately there's nobody in Scotland that I would go and get. Zuniga, the one that seems to be linked. I know it's going to be a bit quiet. It's been very quiet on social media today. He seems to be the man that Gerrard's interested in. I know Oxford, you've mentioned the boy McLean for Norwich. That's another one. I think I've seen him putting a shift in the middle of the park. So there's guys out there.
When you see him as a ball winner, but
no, he's more forward there.
No, Albert.
I mean, it sticks out like sore thumb. That's what we exactly need, because we've got some really lovely players. There's no getting away from it. I keep thinking, by the way, though, we've got plenty of icing. Definitely got plenty of icing, but we've no cake. We've not made the cake yet. So we're sitting there going, we're still going to finish the cake before these boys can actually strut their stuff. And that type of player is definitely needed. Definitely 100% needed. Maybe even two. One as a backup, because maybe Jack's the backup. I mean, Jack's the closest we'll go to somebody, a ball winner that's going in there to do the dirty stuff and get tore in. But sometimes I think he's just left to do it himself all the time. He's looking for backup, but it's no there. You've got hunting packs, and he's going to lead the pack. But we've not got that player, but we definitely need him. Definitely need him. Where he's going to come from, I don't know, but we definitely need one.
Richmond?
Well, that's thing as well. See with Jack, he could be that player, right? I think he's very effective at what he does. But Gerrard still, he's got that system with Jack. He moves him about the park. I think just maybe a wee bit too much. Do you know what I mean? To maybe stamp his authority on the game, his aggression on the game, if you know what I'm saying.
Sorry, Paul. I was just going to say that we spoke about this for a couple of times, and it's going to be another discussion for another time as well. I think the toughest we've got for tackling in the midfield at the present moment has been Jack. And as the caller just said there, he's getting, shall we say, Mr. Gerrard seems to be moving him around a wee bit here and there. And that may not suit his, shall we say, his 100% game. But like everybody else, everybody wants to see Rangers signing a top quality midfielder, an absolute top quality midfielder. The man that would, a Barry Ferguson type of person, that's no fear to go in, no fear to do, no fear to get tore right in and get it done. And that's the kind of person we need now. Whether we'll get the money for that or whether we'll get somebody coming through the reserve type thing, I doubt very much that's going to happen. So back to this, we're going to get one. Well, we need one. Simple as that. We need one, and that's what I feel. And the rest of the boys are saying the exact same thing, maybe in different type of words, but at the same time.
I've been sent a message from somebody who's very, very clever, knows his football inside out. Would have been a top basketball player, but his height kept him out. CC, but he's mentioned James McCarthy. I know they'll be on a decent money, but James MacArthur, get that right. Not McCarthy, we don't want him. MacArthur at Crystal Palace, who does that job for them very effectively in the top league in England. But is that the type? JFK.
He is the type, but I mean, the man that we're supposed to be getting is it Zunga, South African.
Still only a rumour, mate, isn't it?
It's only a rumour, but that's the type of player that we're looking to get. You know, a box-to-box midfielder, and if I know, I'd be happy with that, because I've said before, I'm looking for Jack to give more in that midfield. We need somebody that can fight a bit better for the ball, and I keep saying about the player that we all hate. I mean, as much as we hate him, he does that job in the middle. He spoils the midfield, and he stops the creative players playing. And there's nothing wrong with that in football. And we've had players like that in years gone by, and we need somebody like that again. The boy for Crystal Palace, is it? I don't know. I've seen him in bits, and it doesn't really impress me all that much, you know. And apart from that, he'd be on mega wages down there, you know, that out of our reach. So,
Jimmy, who's the guy at Kilmarnock? Is it Powell?
Power.
Power. See, we want somebody with that aggression, but with a bit more football in him. With a bit more football in him. That aggression, his aggression, that's what you want. But football, you can play and play a pass as well. That's the sort of player I'm talking about.
There's nothing up
Stephen,
with a water carrier. There's nothing up with water carriers, guys.
Stephen,
Sorry,
the
sure.
problem we've got is, I think I've had to accept after all my years trying to stick up for referees after Mr. Clancy's interview that there is referees with agendas. With our players, if we go to something like that, the first time they put their foot in, they're getting booked. The second time they put their foot in, they're getting sent off.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Right out of my mouth. That's exactly what would happen to these players.
No chance a player like one of your players can get away with half of the tackles that go in the Premiership Oaks. Just wouldn't happen. You've seen the way they treat Alfie for stupid things. You know, there's players. I mean, he sent off for making a gesture to fans. You know, how many times at Ibrox have you seen an opposition player score a goal and make a gesture to the Rangers fans? Have you ever seen any of them get sent off? No.
I can't mind any of them getting booked. Stephen, that's the problem we've got at the moment there. I mean, Ryan Jack, we've got the snooze, the closest we've got. And look at him in his first season, 4 times he was sent off, 2 of them rescinded. You know?
Exactly. Well, just on your point there, what the boy says there, I agree 100%. There, I've been on a wee binge in anticipation of Saturday, right? Been watching game after game, honestly, the last 4 or 5 days. And see, obviously Rangers are putting up games as live. We're pumping Aberdeen 4-2. They're showing us this game, we win 3-0, whatever. And you're watching the game at the time, and there is decisions go against you, whatever else. But see because it's covered up by a 4-2 win or whatever else, you forget all about them. But see when you go on one of these wee benches and you watch 4 or 5 games back to back, it becomes blatantly obvious what they're doing. Honestly, some of the decisions that go against us, and that's only the ones that's the ones where we're winning games and we forget all about them. Imagine the games where we draw and we've lost a couple of points because of poor refereeing decisions.
What about the game at Parkhead on the 29th? The referee.
Thank you.
Can I come in on the midfield?
Sorry.
When you go, Fox.
I think we're doing a wee disservice to the 3 midfield players that we've got, mate. There's a lot more to the way we played than just a strong tackler. Kamara and Jack cover for our fullbacks as they go up the park. They've both got good engines in them. Joe Aribo is no bad at winning the ball back either. And I think to bring in a strong-armed man might upset the balance in the midfield 3 who go through a tremendous amount of work in a game. And I think we underestimate just how good they 3 operate.
So can I just jump in with a wee thing, just a wee added thing there, and I'll be on my way. But see, what you're saying there, what I'm saying is, see in the winter months, see when it comes to your late Decembers and your January, and you've got Morelos playing, right, I know you're saying that the 3 boys in the midfield can do that job, they can do it well. But see in the games, as I say, away up north, St John's, whatever, you'll notice in the type of games, Morelos is having to come back to do the job of the guy that I think we need to help the 3. And then before you know it, any time we're sort of trying to counter, it's not working because the pitches aren't in a good condition for that to happen. Morelos has already taken up maybe a defensive role, I would say, in these games. And during winter time, you'll probably notice it more and more. And when that happens, we've not got anybody up front. Obviously, we're playing with 1 striker and 2 wingers, but the 2 wingers are having to come back at the same time. So you're not really getting, if you look at our goals during that time, roughly from about December to January, we don't score many goals. And that's one of the big reasons, I think.
So you're saying when the pitches get bad, we're struggling? Is that the point you're making?
It's one of the big reasons, I think because we've not got this big solid hammer thrower in midfield, Morelos is having to come back to help the rest of the team. Playing with 1 striker leaves us lax.
I've never really, it's not something that's ever crossed my mind. I've not really thought about the conditions of the pitches, but I can see your point. Portman.
Mm-hmm. I understand the logic, Oxshire, but pitches, is that the real problem? Is that what we think happened after December? I think it's a bit more than that, mate, personally. I get what the boy's saying, in regards to, how heavy the pitches get over the winter period, but it was something a lot, darker than that, mate, that happened to us the last 2 years in a row, in my opinion, mate.
Over the winter period, but it was...
Oh, somebody's got a call, and we got another caller come in.
Aye.
Oh, we did talk about his trip to it.
Can I ask Portbear, what he meant by that. Some darker things have happened to us. What do you mean by that?
Just what I mean is, Bridgeman, it's just you think of the last two Christmas periods we had, when everything seemed to be rosy, and we've never none of these, and I still don't know to this day, none of us have ever been able to put our finger on what actually happened. We've all come up with things like the character of the team, the will to win, etc., etc. But none of us ever put our finger on what actually happened after that period. I understand what the boy's saying, like I said, Bridgeman, but I can't see it with pitches. It was just something to me. It's just something on behind the scenes, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what happened. The team just capitulated, in my opinion, mate, over the last two Christmas periods.
Stephen, just go back to yourself, mate. Out of curiosity, how long have you been listening to the show?
I just came across it 3 days ago.
3 days ago.
Honestly,
He's a long-time listener then. If he stuck with us for 3 days,
oh, definitely.
But brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It really is.
Get to the Christmas night out, mate.
Welcome to Rangers Radio, mate. Welcome. Keep coming in.
That's superb. But I didn't get a chance to phone in yesterday. I was too late in coming on, so been playing catch up with you. I had it on a playlist actually earlier on, so it's brilliant. Keep it going, definitely.
Do you live in the Glasgow area then?
I did. I just moved to Kilmarnock in October there.
Oh, you're doing in Kilmarnock, are you? Okay.
Just to get away from Glasgow for
Glasgow.
Aye.
Get away from
Bridge understands that, mate. He had to do it, but to be fair, he had to move to South Africa. It was real levels that were there for him.
To literally leave the country, yeah.
It's no bad here. It's nice and quiet. And a weird thing happens. I've seen a few more Rangers taps down here than I've seen back up there, so that's a strange one. But hopefully with this Ashley thing done, that's it, thankfully. So.
You'll see even more shortly, mate. They'll start appearing left, right, and centre over the next week or so.
I know. Honestly, what a feeling that's going to be. Feels as if we gave up the city for a wee while there, but we're taking it back. So in fact, we're taking the country back. That's it.
As soon as we get the country back, the better, mate.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Listen, a pleasure to speak to you, and phone in any time, yeah.
Aye, brilliant. I'll give you a wee phone in our time, no bother.
Aye, and keep listening. After you get to 5 days, you're on nuts.
Hey, lads, thanks a lot. Cheers.
Cheers, Stevie. Cheers,
all the best, Stephen. Bye-bye.
Cheers, mate. Cheers. Bye-bye.
3 days? What's he been doing in his life?
Is he getting off else today, mate? No. Oh, dear.
It was a point I'd never actually considered, the pitches, but I'll start looking at it now the boys mentioned it. I never even considered it.
You get heavy pitches years ago. Do you think it's as bad now? I think the pitches are better maintained than they were even a couple of years ago,
Bowling greens
the worst pitch was Pittodrie, maybe St Johnstone. The rest are no bad, are they? By the way, there's 3 plastic pitches in the league as well.
That Hearts pitch was tragic, mate. That Hearts pitch, nearly as bad as theirs.
No, that was the best era. Anyway, but he's not the first one to come on and say, I know Fox has got a different view about a bomber. Is it a bomb we need? Or are people trying to make the point? I'll go to GFK with us. That when we're at Ibrox, do we need 2 sitting midfielders? The personnel can be the same, yeah?
Yeah.
But we need to change the system.
Well, I've been saying that all season, I think, especially at Ibrox, it should be changing it and trying to be a wee bit more adventurous. I'd like to see him always play 2 up front at Ibrox. Definitely. It's the way I'd like to see Rangers play going forward. I don't think it's going to happen, but try and play a different way at Ibrox that makes us more offensive. Don't get me wrong, there's a few games last season before the winter break. We played some fantastic football, had some great results at Ibrox as we all know, but I'd like to see that as a norm at Ibrox, and play a way that we know that we can. And I'd love to see the 2 up front. Especially, I'd like to see Alfredo with somebody else, and we don't know who that might be. Would it be Dykes? Would it be Shanklin? Or what would it be? Me personally, I'd like to see a big centre playing alongside Alfredo. I've always been a big fan of that. All my years going to see Rangers. But with some great two strikers up front, pair of strikers. McCoy's, Haley, Morris Johnson, name a couple or three there. So I'd love to see that happening more often. Will it? I don't think so. He's very loath to change his system.
I don't think he will. But what I would say when I'm looking to change the system, Port Bear, I'm talking about one sitting and two joining rather than two sitting and one joining.
Yeah.
I mean that's what I said last night in this show. You know what? I don't think I think we're too good, mate, to have two sort of defensive-minded midfielders. So that's how I would have the one screening the back four and let the other two go and join with the front three. Oxford, can I just read out our midfielders who's available and you can tell me if you think it's enough or not? Just put it to the rest of the panel. We've got Joe Aribo, Ryan Jack, Stephen Davis, Glenn Kamara, say Ross McCrory, Jamie Burjonas, Scott Arfield, and Greg Doherty. I don't think that's enough, mate, in quality. It's enough players, but in quality terms, I don't think it's enough.
So where's the quality going? McCrory's not going to cut it. The manager doesn't like Doherty, but Jonas is away in loan.
Yeah. Arfield, I don't know what's going to happen with him. I don't know where he fits into the team this year. I really don't. So you've got Kamara, Davis, Ryan Jack, and Aribo. And that's it. That's your fourth, probably central midfielders.
You'll not go through the season with all them, mate. You'll need to.
No, that's how I feel. We need bodies, mate. And I think, like you touched on, we probably need, a guy that's very forward thinking as well to go and join up, and be creative with that killer pass. A pass that none of them can see, mate. But like we've touched on, we also need that boy in there that's going to screen that back four. So when our fullbacks are both bombing forward as well, he will then go and sit alongside the two centre halves, which will make it a back three. Is to keep a fluid movement to a teammate. That's what it's about. It's a tactical, a player that's going to sit in that role and be tactically astute. As I said, when them two fullbacks are bombing, he's got a sense to screen and sit in between the two centre halves and make it a back three at times, mate. When they're bombing.
I get it, mate. Rudy Bear.
I think, do you know the problem with trying to find that kind of player, Ox? They cost money. That's the problem. That's the real problem. If money wasn't a problem, you could find one of these guys for somewhere easily enough. The problem for us is guys like that cost money. We're kind of at a level now where we've got like Jack and Kamara, Stephen Davis, Scotty Arfield, guys like that. It's finding that step up for them up to the next level of midfielder is not going to be easy to do. Maybe that boy, South African boy's the answer. Maybe, I don't know anything about him. Watched the wee clip of him the other day. But then YouTube would make me look good, so therefore I don't really know. I won't know until, we don't even know what's happening there with that, in all honesty. But it's finding a guy like that, and I told you that, it was the 2 nights ago, Ox, I told you, my ideal midfielder is Arturo Vidal. That kind of player, that ilk of player, he knows how to tackle. His nickname's no the Warrior for nothing. That's what he was called at Juventus. He was called the Warrior. But he knows how to tackle. He knows he's as talented as anything. He knows how to score goals. He's a brilliant all-round midfielder. That's the kind of guy we're looking for. That kind of guy costs you money, Ox. There's nobody in Scotland, for a start, that I've seen that would fill that position that we're all talking about here, and we have spoke about. We spoke about this last season as well, Ox, remember?
Oh, we will, mate. We will.
We couldn't come up with anybody, and I still can't come up with anybody, Otherwise, the only other way you're doing it is spending big money to find somebody like that. Hopefully, if this boy Zungu comes in, if that's what happens, hopefully he's that kind of player. He's what we're looking for. But we won't know that until it happens. But
no.
There's nobody in Scotland, Ox, for me.
Albert?
I don't think we need the two holding midfielders at Ibrox, especially if we get Golson's night dress off him. As long as his night dress is known, we're fine with one. But apart from that, no, we don't need two. One will do. But again, it's got to be the right one. It's got to be the right player. And this is this player, this mysterious player that we're all talking about. We all know what he looks like and as much how he should be playing and what we expect him to do. But we couldn't put a name in it. Nobody can put a name in it. Because I'll be honest, I don't watch a lot of football.
Mm-hmm. If I was picking one for the past that played for us, who I thought played that role, obviously Fergie was up there. but I would go just because of his presence would be Nigel Spackman, mate.
Oh,
Aye.
Aye.
And he only left us because of the 3 foreigner rules. He was a smashing player. And
A very gifted player, a very gifted
Aye.
player. I was an actual footballer. I would have went for Terry Hurlock personally. But you know the reason I would do that. You know the reason for that.
I wasn't the greatest fan. I mean, I know he scored a goal and he gave us 100%, you know, and came in, but
He wasn't a footballer. He wasn't a footballer like
No,
Spackman.
he wasn't in the
Spackman was a
same
football
class.
player. Nah,
that
he
says
was a
go back
footballer.
to UGIT player of the season. You touched the ball 3 times. I still can't believe it.
Oh, the guy was underneath the ball.
Two of them were shies.
But it's all what I think we get it when we're playing Hamilton at Ibrox. Why do we need 2 defensive midfielders, Fox? Because that's what happens.
But that isn't that isn't just their role, mate. Their role is to cover for Barisic and
I
Tav.
know, but we end up
And
when we get the ball, we end up with 5 at our back.
Well, that's what we have as cover. I mean, when we're playing at Ibrox, mate, we've got four defenders and 6 attackers. How much more adventurous do you want us to be?
Do you really think that, Fox? Because when you watch sometimes Jack and Stephen Davis getting the ball off the centre backs, they're that deep. You couldn't say they were attacked.
No,
Right.
I'm not counting them. You've got your 2 fullbacks who are attacking. You've got 1 midfielder, usually Joe or Ebo, and then you've got the 3 front players. So we've plenty of attackers when we're at Ibrox.
Maybe I've got it wrong with it.
I think Fox has been very controversial tonight. Very controversial.
I think also that lady's left the house.
No, jeez. Say no more. Say no more.
Anyway.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. You're off your head, yous lot.
I think you've drank the profits.
I never realised that when your fullbacks were attackers, so maybe just I know they support the attack, but to class
Where is Tav and Barisic when we go forward, mate?
they support the forwards, but you couldn't say you wouldn't say they're part of the 6 attackers.
Aye, they are.
That's not the primary role.
But that's the way we play. Well, that's the way I watch the game, and that's the way I see them.
See, that's the bit I don't get about that. They fullbacks being that attack-minded. If you're going to have people that attack-minded, why don't you play 2 wingers as fullbacks? Because they're the ones going to fly up the park anyway. It doesn't make any sense to me making fullbacks what your main attacking. That just doesn't make sense to me at all. I know that's the way we play, but it doesn't make sense that you've got certain players with limited skill on the ball more often than skillful players.
Good comment. Anyway, we've reached that time of the evening. Get yourself a mute. Would you fancy a night, Bridge?
Blue Sea of Ibrox, the soft version.
Oh, is Mrs. Bridge ready for a wee walk?
I'm just going to give you a wee shout in a wee skate round the scullery.
Not the first time you've said that.
Hey, take it easy, boys.
You better get her walk.
Hey, you.
You better get her waltzing shoes on, because that's not what you're getting.
All right, okay then.
Waterloo, we chased King James and all his gang in the battle of the port, by the Glasgow jails went on. Glory, glory, Glasgow Rangers, glory, glory, Glasgow Rangers, glory, glory, Glasgow Rangers, the jails go marching on. Now we've seen the Glasgow Celtic and Brazil and Argentina. We've seen the Leeds United and the Sugar mighty team. We've seen the best in Russia from the Volga to the Don, but the Jazz go marching on. Glory, glory, Glasgow Rangers. Glory, glory, Glasgow Rangers. Glory, glory, Glasgow Rangers. The Jazz go
come from all of Glasgow, they come from near and far. They come from every hill and glen, from here to Lochnacar. They sail from dear old Belfast to the bonny banks of Clyde. They gather round to Timeless Park and loudly sing with pride. Oh yeah, it's R-E-N-G-E-N-R-N-S. In case you didn't catch it, friend, I set your mind at rest. Oh yeah, it's R-E-N-G-E-N-R-N-S. The boys in blue of Ibrox, aye, the Scotland's very best. Oh yeah, it's R-E-N-G-E-N-R-N-S. In case you didn't catch it, friend, I set your mind at rest. Oh yeah, it's R-E-N-G-E-N-R-N-S. The boys in blue of Ibrox, aye, the Scotland's very best. Aye, there's Richie Shearer, Robin, John Craig McKinnon too. There's Baxter, Highness and George McLean, they proudly wear the blue. There's Miller, Brandon, Wilson, what better could you want? Plus 70,000 Rangers fans that proudly sing this chant. Oh yeah, it's R-E-N-G-E-N-R-N-S. In case you didn't catch it, friend, I've set your mind at rest. Oh yeah, it's R-E-N-G-E-N-R-N-S. The boys in blue, the Ibrox, aye, the Scotland's very best. Richie Shearer, Robin, John Craig McKinnon too. There's Baxter, Highness and George McLean, they proudly wear the blue. There's Miller, Brandon, Wilson, what better could you want? Plus 70,000 Rangers fans that proudly sing this chant. Oh yeah, it's R-E-N-G-E-N-R-N-S. In case you didn't catch it, friend, I'll set your mind at rest. Oh yeah, it's R-E-N-G-E-N-R-N-S. They're the boys in blue of Ibrox, aye, the Scotland's very best. They're the boys in blue of Ibrox, aye, the Scotland's very best.
Nice wee ditty.
How did that second one go, Port Bear?
That was all right, mate.
How'd it
Aye.
go,
It's
huh?
R-E-N-G-E-N-R-N-S.
I know you can spell. I was checking if you can spell.
Ah, well, see, that's my mates backing us up, see. Cheers, Bridgeman.
You're welcome, Port. You're welcome, bud.
Right, where are we? Just it started to break your day that one minute you're reading that the world's going to go mad again, the next thing you're reading we're all going to be allowed back into the football shortly. JFK.
Scandalous decision the other day. I don't usually watch her, but I like to watch every third Thursday with the changes on the, she says on the 24th of August, they're going to allow outdoor events to take place like concerts, but she's not going to allow football to take place until the 12th or 14th of September. And obviously it's got to be in a social distancing. But why? What's the difference with having a concert at Glasgow Green and having people coming into Ibrox? You can still do a social distancing. Probably better than you could do at Glasgow Green, I may add. So I'm looking forward to that. But is it going to happen? I've got my doubts. Very much that it will happen. Probably maybe November, December.
All right, okay. Albert.
They're all potty, if you ask me. I don't know. I don't think any of them know what they're doing anymore. I really don't. They're just guessing now and taking a roll of the dice and hoping it's all going to be all right. To my mind, we're not working towards anything. We're just sort of going in circles, and one minute you're not allowed to do this, then you're allowed to do that, then no, wait a minute, you're not allowed to do it. It's just nonsense now. I wish they would just sit down and tell us the truth. Where are we with this? Where are we with the virus? What's happening with the virus? Aye, we've got it under control. We're firefighting it. We're not getting ahead of it. We're just keep on firefighting it. So it's vaccinations for me, or the herd immunity carry on they're going about. Until that happens, I don't think you're going to get any Ibrox at all. They'll let them into Parkhead because they're disease-ridden trumpets anyway. You know what I mean? So it'll no matter to them. They want in there, but I don't see it. I don't see it happening. I really don't. I wish I could say something like, it's all going to be all right and we're all going to be in the grounds for September, but I don't see that happening at all.
All right. Rudy Bear. Oh, he must be away for something. Port Bear.
We just talk common sense prevails. I don't think, having listened to it about myself like Jimmy Day, sometimes it comes across me like they're almost winging it, and I just think, look, let's be patient. The FIPA's been alright, it's weird to watch on TV auctioneer and the atmosphere of the games and stuff, but as long as there's platforms out there, in my opinion, to watch games and watch them on TV, etc., let's just slow things down, mate, for the benefit of the public and the people out there, for loved ones, etc. Just slow it down. We're in no rush to get inside stadiums. Just make sure it's done in a safe manner and it's not going to cost lives, mate. That's my opinion on it anyway.
Well said, mate. Again, you're coming for safety first, I mean, we're all missing a football bridge, man. We're missing the atmosphere. We're missing Gone. We're missing the social side of it as much as the football. Meeting people, talking to people, you signing autographs. We've missed the whole thing, but obviously, as Port's rightly said, public safety is going to come first, unfortunately, even though as much as we miss it.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth in how everybody says it's probably truthful. Personally, I have to say, without I don't want to sound too sour a note on this, but I just hark back to what that mob across the city have asked for. They asked for the Old Firm game to be as late as possible. Well, you can't get it any later than the 11th game, the last game of the first cup, And they said then they wanted supporters in the stadiums by, let's say, October. And it sounds as if it's all going to go their way. That's what it sounds like to me. However, I have to agree with what everybody says. We have to be careful. You can see, based on what we're seeing in the news, there's areas getting spiked up all across the country, particularly in Port Glasgow. You know how bad that place is. No offence meant, Port, of course. But no, I think we have to be careful and everybody just take care. I want to see Ibrox. I want to get back into Ibrox. I desperately do. See what my club's like.
Bridgeman, can I ask you a question, pal?
Of course, buddy.
How would you? I know in an ideal world it would be 50,000 is in there, but what would you say would be an acceptable amount of fans to get in to the ground, considering that we had 50,000? How would you think it would work?
I think it would start off with some. I'm not a statistician by any stretch of imagination, but I think it would be something between 10 and 15%, and it would try that out for a week, and it would bump it up and then bump it up and then bump it up. I don't see us running with 20,000 or 30,000 for quite a while. I think one of the boys, maybe even yourself, JFK, it might be after Christmas before you see anything like it. However, it depends on what pressures get put on. I just don't think they would see. I think they'll need to. Even our stadiums like 50,000, 10%, that's a hell of a lot of people. 5,000 people, a lot of people. And for you to get to the 2 metre rule, for that to apply in any way, shape, or form, then you might end up with maybe 15,000 if you get a good programme to run it. It'd be smashing.
Do you think Oakshire's got an idea about how he'd like to run it?
Go on then.
Well, I'm assuming a lot of stuff here, Bridge. I'm assuming that roughly we'll get a third of the people in the stadium. Yeah, that's what I'm assuming. So if we'll get roughly 45,000 season ticket holders, 1 to 15,000 will get in the first week. Obviously, you look at families and tie-ups, or you can go in groups if you ask them. You'll be in the first lot, 15 and 1, up to 30,000 will be the second game, and then 30, 45. I can't see how else you could do it that would be fair. You couldn't have first come, first served, and everybody's paid the same money.
I reckon it's a lot simpler than that, mate. I reckon for one person to sit in a row of seats, you need 5 seats. You need 2 seats each side for social distancing. So for every 100 seats, you're getting 20 people in. So you can count it that way, and then you move the seats. So it's on the next 5 games or whatever.
You don't really, mate. If you, this is going to sound bizarre. If you give people a visor, mate, they could watch the game and they could sit closer together because people could work like that.
I mean, this is the confusing thing that everybody's going on about. We keep getting mixed messages about what's right and what's wrong. It's all balmy. It's just completely balmy. There's no central point to give the right information, and we all follow. That's what we all follow. They just make it up. Is it Rudy or Port said they're winging it?
I'm assuming a lot. I'm assuming that roughly a third of people will be around into the stadium, mate. Yeah.
I'm writing 20%.
Right. Well, that's 10,000 then, isn't it? Well, that's 9,000 season ticket holders that would be allowed in. And you would just do that over 5 weeks or 10, that would be 10 games. That would be the first round of games. So
at least everybody gets a game.
Aye, that's the only way I think you could do it, Albert. I don't know how else you could do it.
And I think that in itself, it's got risks. There's no getting away from it. It's got risks. The biggest risk is how do you get them into the ground? You know what I mean? So you'd need to put the tape outside, and you've all got to stand in your space waiting to get into the ground, and then you've got to go straight to your seat, and then you can't go down to the
toilets are a big factor.
Toilets or anything like that. No, I mean, so there's a lot to consider, and then you look at the revenue that you're gaining with that, and you're saying, well, you're not gaining anything money wise with it. You're losing money with it because the Strathclyde's Finest will be wanting their wedge is normal. You know what I mean?
See, I'm not a GG man, but I did read that our racing card is on this week. As I think it's 7,500 they're letting in every day.
Goodwood.
Is it Goodwood? Oxshire, I'm not a gambling man. I don't do the GGs, so it's Goodwood it's on. So they're saying they're letting 7,500. But you look at the vastness of a race course. That's what I'm saying, Oxshire. Look at a vast space they've got compared to. You've got other things to take into consideration. I saw a bit the day then that somebody put in a boot that after Nicola Sturgeon had said what she said, and they said that probably one of the provide.
Can you watch the line, John?
All right, sorry, mate. Wee nippy then. Somebody stated that the probably proviso would be that we would need to wear masks at the game. Right. Now, to me, that's anybody that's wore any type of mask for a long period of time will tell you it's one of the most uncomfortable things you can do.
People are having to wear them for a shift on the front line. People are having to wear them for a shift.
Well, my wife and same as all bears, right? She's got them on. They've got them on all day. When I was a day lager stripping the asbestos, and I had them on 8 hours a day, and it's the most uncomfortable thing. But could you go to the match? The silly thing is, which I think is, you could meet in the Loudon for a pint. I could meet Fox for a pint with my mask in my pocket. And then on the way up to the ground, I'd need to put my mask on to get into the ground. How silly is that?
It's stupid, isn't it? I know Roy Rogers didn't like wearing the mask. I know that.
Did Dick Turpin wear one, British?
Oh. Turpin.
I think he did, actually.
I mean, we're all having a laugh, and it's good because, but the fact of the matter is silliness. I agree with what Albert said earlier on. There doesn't seem to be an end game here. There's no
consistent.
There's no consistency.
Anyway, we've been joined by Andy Phillips. Evening, Andy.
Evening. How you doing, boys? Everybody okay?
Yep, Andy. Cheers, pal.
Yeah, good. Not too bad, I think. Anyway. Can never say these days, can you? Could be walking around, you don't know you've got it. It's all right. I was having a good play at him today, he's a bit concerned about we're under strength light, but he's okay. He's doing okay. I'm sure he'll make a visit at some stage. But he's doing all right, yeah. Yeah, and the mask thing that Jimmy, that you were saying there, I've had to wear them all the time, from day one, they're very uncomfortable, especially when you've had a swallow the night before, murder the following day,
It seems having to catch the night before in your hand.
Definitely. Well, I had a few there the other night. Geez, I was in this morning. The tunes were banging out. All the teachers were coming out. They jumped down off the ladder, turn it down, But yeah, that's where it is, isn't it? Just
I've got
I
to
don't
say,
think anybody, nobody knows, did he?
Drink's the most important thing in your life. Think again.
Okay, I was all right till I come on this show and you started getting on to me. I'm becoming alcoholic now.
Well, you set yourself up.
I'll just get a few down me before I get on that show, like before Ox starts carving me up into pieces, like, you know.
Listen, mate, it wasn't me that said that Bruno Alves played for Leeds United. It was you.
Aye, I know, but I don't need reminding everybody there neither.
And
there
also,
you go.
I thought I'd seen Bruno today, mate. I thought I'd seen him a bit, but he took his mask off. It wasn't him.
Listen. I definitely think you're right because I've been looking all over for him since I mentioned I can't find him down here. So I think you're right. I think I got that one right.
you even told us who told you.
I knew there was a Bruno playing for him. I was just talking to my son-in-law there last night, you know, about that. Can you come up last night? Because we're going up the road in a few days, you know, up to Weymouth Bay, like, you know, because the family wanted to do a trip round, and I was just saying to him, I said, you see that caravan there? And I said, you're getting it. As I told you before, you better sleep with your eyes open, pal. I'm waiting. A couple of weeks now. I'll be back on telling you the story, don't worry. But, yeah, getting back to the football, what were we saying about the team? I think the team will be the same as what we more or less went to Coventry, give or take what they're going to do with Morales, if he's still there, like.
Oh, Morales is playing on Saturday.
Yeah, well, and I think as far as not having the crowds, actually no matter, because the importance of this season should be laid on the line when we've got a crowd or no crowd. We know what's in front of us, and with that ball-bag referee, what he's coming out with, as I said to you before in the show, I think Rangers need to get 2 or 3 up, or we've got real problems if we've got tight games, because they're more or less saying, right, well, we'll do our best to get you the 10 to 10, you know. But I think we're going to have to really, really get into them now and make sure, take it out of their hands. That's what we need to do, really. That's what I think. And if we have the right attitude and that's what I'm hoping they're going to do. And if they bring a couple of decent players in, like you said on Saturday, we're going to have to be patient because of the way the wind is. But, just have the right attitude. You know, I mean, stuff like that he came out with, stuff like that, they shouldn't need any motivation. They're telling you what they're going to do. You're that smug now because they've got away with it. They're just telling you what they're going to do. So let's get out there and get some determination. Get right into them. If they do that, we'll be okay. We've got to stop them somewhere. You know, don't go on forever, does it? You know, we're going to have our day. We're getting the bricks into place, so let's just get it right on that park now. That's the way I see it.
Rudy Bear.
Aye, exactly. That's all we have to do. Go up there, put the first team out, get the 3 points. The referee thing, that was a disgrace.
Unbelievable.
I couldn't believe that. And I'm thinking, is that just before the league starts and there's a referee and Clancy at that, coming out with that, and I just thought, man, wow, how they get away with that nowadays is just shocking. Only in this country. Only in this country could you get away with that. But look, we'll play the first team that we played. We'll play the team that started against Coventry is the team for the weekend, Ox, for Saturday. Up there, 3 points. Good start to the league campaign this season. I'm just thinking, have they learned for the last 2 seasons, when they get to December, get themselves in a great position? I mean, we know we've got loads of football to play before we get to that position, Ox, but they've done it 2 seasons in a row. Got into January after the winter break and just drove the Stevie G train off the cliff. I'm just hoping that doesn't happen again this season. I hopefully what they'd learned from it last season, I'm hoping they've learned from it this season.
You still on the train, Rudy?
Absolutely.
I am. I've still got a first class ticket, mate. I'm on the train.
We should have had a League Cup in the bag if it wasn't for a dodgy refereeing decision where 3 players were offside, but nobody bothered to notice that. We should have had a League Cup in the cabinet by now, Ox, you know what I mean? So I am still on the train. We can play some great football. I think Albert was talking about it earlier on there. We know they can play great football. But they've just got to do it on a more consistent basis, Ox. That's all they've got to do. You know what I mean?
All right.
I think the big problem we had... Oh, sorry.
There you go, Albert.
I think the problem last year... What the big problem... Oh, hold on a minute. It's women I'm trying to attract, Ox. Behave yourself.
I've seen your fan mail. It's mixed.
But I think last year the big one, there's a lot of problems, as Port pointed out. There was a lot of dark stuff going on as well, I'd imagine. But one of the big problems, we stopped scoring goals. It's as simple as that. You don't score goals, you don't win games. It's as simple as that. So we need to, the turn of the year, when we're still in it and going for a title, we need to make sure we're scoring goals. And that was our own fault, by the way. We never the replacement for Alfie. And that's how I said this year, if he stays, we can't rely on him to win the league. We just can't rely on the boy. It's stupid if we do, because we know what's going to happen. So start scoring goals. That's your problem.
It's a good point you make, Albert, because last season we lost as many goals as they did, so we were fairly equal. But the goal scoring, they were way ahead of us last season in goal scoring in the second half of the season. So
we just dried up, Rudy, altogether. We just completely dried up.
Yeah.
And just know that we're only making the chances. Well, we're making the chances. We're just not putting them away.
Right.
I mean, that Hearts game, we could have been out of sight in that Hearts game. And if we'd have scored the 2 or 3 goals, the 2 or 3 chances we had, they would have killed them. They would dead in the water. But we gave them encouragement by leaving them in the game and missing chance after chance. And you can't do that. You've got to be more ruthless. But that was one of the main problems that I seen. But again, as a Port's pointed out, I think there was more to it than just one problem. I think there's a combination of problems.
I'm going to put some to these boys, if it's all right, Oxtear. I'm still on the train, and I won't get off it, because I think he's done an absolute, fantastic job. We've not got any silverware in the cabinet yet, but the way he's transformed our club, mate, is nothing short of phenomenal. Basically on the eve of the season starting, a good pre-season, right? We've added Hadji, as a permanent, signing, which is encouraging. But we're virtually the same, probably, team, apart from Hadji, mate, that failed in the last 2 seasons. So, I think, mate, we need
problem for you then, Mark.
That's a problem, mate. Yeah. I do think, I keep saying it about my Stardust, I think we need to add real quality, Rudy. That same team that's failed the last 2 years. I don't want to be negative, guys. I really don't. But it's the truth. It's the exact same team that's failed.
No, Mark, I feel the same. That's the worry I've got, that we'll have a good first half of the season. Because last season, I thought they would have learned for Stevie G's first season what happened. But the exact same thing happened last season. So I'm a wee bit wary about it happening again this season, but let's hope no. There's a long time to go in the transfer window yet, isn't there? So let's see. Aye.
Just, interested to hear what the rest of you've got to think about that. I've been thinking about it for the last couple of nights, and I was going to mention it, but I was thinking, I don't want to be negative, but I want to be truthful as well.
When you look at the starting lineup for this time last year, obviously Kent's come in, who'd been a runabout. Hadji's come in, but basically the other 9 would be players that were there last year at the start. Obviously Kent came in quite quickly, but we don't need projects. We don't need any boy in Liverpool for loan. We need boys that's going to be pushing to play, or men, should I say. We maybe need men for the next 2 or 3 years. JFK.
It's been saying it all along. We need journeymen to get in there. It's all right having a wee dabble, a couple of young boys to bring them through, but we're wanting to win this league, and we want to win it well, and we need players going forward that are up for it, and we've no time for passengers, mate. This is Steven Gerrard's biggest season, probably as a manager and as a former footballer, because this could make or break his career going forward. He needs to win the league. I've spoken to various Rangers fans, and some of them say they'd be quite happy to win some silverware. Well, for me, the only bit of silverware that matters is the league title, mate. And I'm not going to talk about getting rid of him and things like that, but this will be a catalyst for him. So he needs to bring the right players in to do the job that has to be done.
And I think with Port Bergen back to you, I think it's constant. I think everybody, Andy, Albert, Bridge, maybe Fox is different. I'll go to Fox after you, Port Berg, but I think we need minimum 2 first-team players, no squad players.
No, mate, you're bang on. I would like 3, but 2 would do. But they have to be real quality, mate, and they have to be able to, in my opinion, go in there and immediately at training challenge for the whatever positions they're going to be brought in on. They need to be first teamers. They need to hit a ground running, mate. I said the transfer window is so important for Gerrard this year and Ross Wilson. They've got to get this right, mate. And the transfer window's open to September, but Gerrard's always done his work early. Somebody mentioned earlier on, I'm going to throw a name out there. He's available on a free transfer. James Milner. People say he's a bit old, but that's the sort of level I would hope Gerrard could attract, mate. James Milner would be, he's a winner. He's a great midfielder. I would like to see somebody of that calibre, somebody that's going to come in and do the job right away.
All right, mate, Fox, and you come, mate.
Pass me at the moment, mate. We're doing
all right,
something.
Okay, the old technical team busy. Andy, then Albert.
I'm on the train with him right enough, but what worries me that comes on top, I'm not convinced that Stevie Gerrard's on who would be totally on the train. If you looked at his body language after we got beat the Jam Fats there in the Scottish Cup, that was very worrying. And the other thing is, after 2 years, listen, if you keep getting punched in the coupon all the time, you adapt. You say that's not going to happen anymore. You don't seem to adapt for different types of games, and that's the thing that worries me as well with him right enough. But I so want him to do it because listen, if you don't do it at Rangers, it's a way he's not getting his job that he's looking for anyway. But all I'm bothered about is he gets his stuff done for Rangers, and then we'll let him go with applause, But I just don't think after 2 years in Scotland, he's not really learned, in my opinion, But you know what these teams are going to do. You would think after 2 years he would have worked that out. So that's my worry. But as I say, we've got to be positive. The 2 years now, the buyers, it's what's going forward now. And the starting of the season, we're all on nil. As far as I'm concerned, right, we can win that league. We've got the players to do it on their day. But the mentality when they get themselves into a position is very, very frightening to me. And
I'm still on the train as well, but I don't think Gerrard gets enough credit for what he's done in all these 2 years. For his starting point, was pretty bleak, to be honest. Come on, it really was. It was pretty bleak. He never had much to work with to start off. So he's basically building 2 squads. And he's brought his own leaps and bounds to this. Of course, I'm with Jimmy. I'm saying to myself, the third year and you've had all the backing and whatever, or as much backing as possible with Rangers at the moment. And you really have to look at this year as your year. And somebody somewhere said that either that we poisoned Dwarf's getting the sack or Gerrard's getting the sack, because whoever wins the league, the other one's getting the sack. There's no doubt about that. And I don't like to say it, but it's a fact of life. At the end of the day, you can't, as Andy's saying, you can't keep going along and getting a slap in the dish like this and keep going, we'll be back next year, we'll be back the following year, we'll be back the next. That's not the Rangers way. We sort problems. We don't run away from them. We get them sorted. And to just put the same team out as Port said and hope it's going to be all right, it's not good enough. We need quality players on the team. We all know we need quality players in the first 11. As you've pointed out, Oxford, they've got to be able to walk into that team. And I don't think the quality you need is going to be a Maradona or anything to get into that team. It's a good team, but it's not a brilliant team. So if we don't get it, we're going to struggle. We're definitely going to struggle. So they've got to go out and back them and say, right, who is it you're wanting? We're going to make all the efforts to get whoever it is you're wanting. I don't know who he's wanting. I know we need 2 forwards. That's a given. I don't even think that's part of the players we're talking about. That's just a given. I'm talking about 2 or 3 other players in other positions, mainly the midfield. So how we're going to do it, I don't know. But to be fair to him, somebody said he does his business early. I mean, the transfer window only opened on the 15th of July after lockdown and all that carry on. So you've not got much chance.
All right.
What's happening there? Is that the mothership back for somebody?
Aye. I've put him on mute. I think we've been joined by a caller. He's on mute at the moment. Evening, caller.
Hello?
Hello, how are you you doing, mate? All right?
All right. How you doing? This is DD for the Darty.
DD for the Derby. All right, mate.
Darty. The Darty.
As in Blair.
Aye, you know what?
Right,
Aye,
okay.
the Darty.
Right.
Aye, just give you shout out to my old dad for the Darty.
Right, okay, mate.
And how you doing, Jeff, Kate? And Bridgeman and that?
Bridgeman's away his bed, mate. He's on a
Is
promise.
he kipping?
He's on a promise.
Aye. First time caller.
Right, mate. All right. What's on your mind?
All sorts. I work with puddle drinkers, right? And they
all right. Are you a priest?
What's that?
Are you a priest?
And they always go on about the famous, right? Always talking about this and that. And then one of them brought up Josh Windass. And I'm like, Josh Windass used to play for us, mate. Why do you know more about the Rangers than I do? You know what I mean? And I feel like they're concentrating on what they're worrying about. And like, see with that Zungu and all that coming into the famous, because I read that he's going to be coming into the famous for a £2 million fee. I missed what people were saying on what they think about him coming to the team and that Balogun. What people think about him coming.
If I've been honest, obviously nobody's really said we've seen too much about him. Obviously, the boy Balogun's got a wee bit of pedigree in his past, but he's not played a lot of games. And the South African boy, I've not seen a lot of him, but I'll pass you to my South African expert, Port Bear.
Hi, how you doing, mate? Port Bear here. I've only read what's on, here on social media regarding the transfer and stuff. It seems to have went quiet over the last probably 24 hours. I know he's got 23 caps for South Africa. He's played, relatively well in the French league and stuff.
Aye.
He's as far as I've read, he's South Africa's sort of answer to David Beckham. He's their main man over there. They follow him. He's their main star player. He is the sort of type that I believe we need. He's that box-to-box midfielder. He's also, great at breaking up play. He's a spoiler. So he is a type, mate. But I'm only reading what everybody else is probably reading, to be honest.
Yeah. I've read all that myself and like his appearances and that and how many goals he's had. He looks the part, not mean, and hopefully we get him for a half decent price, not mean.
Aye, definitely, mate. Definitely. As I said, he is a type. He's a winner. I've seen a lot of games. I've seen 3 or 4 games now that he's actually played. I watched the PSG game the other night. I advise all bears to watch the PSG game because for that game, and when they played against Verratti and Guy in the middle of the park for PSG, he stood out against them too. And they're a great side. So I know it's only one game, but what I saw, big, strong, comfortable on the ball, decent looking big pedigree player, plays in a good league.
Aye, that's definitely, mate.
Is it a midfield player you think we need, mate?
Aye. Because
do you not think we're a wee bit short in the striking department as well?
Aye, but see, I'm thinking Morelos is going to stay. Gives them a bit of drive and to stay in top 10 or 10 sorry, because I think like we've got people who can score goals and that, but we need. I don't know who you would put in up front. Know what I mean? And who would be the goal scorer for Rangers? It's a difficult one because it costs money. That's what.
All right, GFK, you've been concerned about Defoe's age, his quality.
Yeah, definitely. All right, DD, how's your mum and dad?
All right, mate. Aye. All right.
I was asking for him, son.
Just a
nice
bit
to get you on. I've been consistent in that. I just felt that Defoe wasn't the player that we were looking for. A great player that he was. I don't think he's got that ability now. I think he's that bit slower, and obviously injury-wise now, Oxford as we've seen there in the last few weeks. Look, if we need another 2 strikers, we've spoken about this. Me and Rudy Bear and all Bear have said that. We need 2 other strikers over and above Alfredo Morelos. we need to go with that for this season. And whoever it is he brings in, all sorts of names being bandied about, and we don't know who it's going to be. But for me, Jermaine Defoe, as it stands for me, it would be a number 3 striker, mate. And I know a lot of people might gasp at that, but for me, that's where he is.
I get where you're coming from, actually.
Yeah, me too.
Anyway, we've been joined by young Stardog. Evening, Stardog. How's the cats, mate?
Well, mate, all I'll say is it's been a night. I'll tell you that. Yeah. But just listening to what you're saying.
I'm proud of you, son. I'm proud of you. Well done.
Well,
you sound light in your feet. Myself. You sound light in your feet.
Well, as I said, been a long couple of hours. But what can I say, mate? Happy with the team so far, but obviously we need to improve, mate. And I'm with Jimmy in that, Oxford. I know we maybe do need a midfielder and we're lacking a bit of this and bit of that, but we're so short. We're so short up top, mate. We really need to get a couple of guys. One name, mate, kind of come across my mind today. I was thinking about a certain Mr. Troy Deeney. I don't know what you would think about him. If we could maybe manage to get him up here, mate.
I like him, mate.
He's just been relegated.
He's gone in for a big up, but innit? Did you see his interview? Did anybody see his interview?
I seen it, Ox.
Funny, wasn't it?
It was brilliant. You'll not get Troy Deeney though, Ox. Unfortunately, I think he's a fantastic player, Troy Deeney. He'll get a big club down somewhere. He'll get a club down south somewhere, and he'll be on a big wage. You'll not get Troy Deeney.
He's a very brave player.
Brilliant.
I like about he's no frightened to put yourself in that box. No, getting the heat in. That's what I like. I'd love him to Ibrox. Brilliant.
I think that's the kind of player we need to be looking at, mate. It's got to be a Troy Deeney or something like that we get up here. If Alfredo Morelos is here or no, Jimmy, it doesn't matter whether he stays or whether he goes. We'll still get in, mate. It doesn't matter if he's here or no, you know. But for me, mate, Troy Deeney's a name that I would certainly be inquiring about. He's doing in the Championship. He's in his 30s now, mate. You know what I mean?
His contract was up with Watford, I think.
Yeah, it's finished. Yeah. Contract's up.
Well,
what you're saying, Stardog, is if Morelos stays, we need one striker. If Morelos goes, we need 2.
I would maybe even say 3, mate, because you don't know what's going to happen. You just don't know who's going to hit the ground running, who's going to be in form, who's even going to adapt to play.
Even Man City would struggle to sign 3 centre forwards because you're not going to get anybody of quality. It's going to come to the 3rd or 4th striker.
Ideally, Oxford, max at least 2. Do you know what I mean? I'll say that, at least 2 if Alfredo goes. But if he stays or if he goes, it doesn't matter. Like me and Jim were just saying there, I'd love to see Troy Deeney here, mate.
That's a good shout. Good shout.
Aye, good one. I've always been impressed with him. We get a great ethic, mate. Great ethic.
Yeah. I'll eat my Rangers bonnet if Troy Deeney signs for us, but don't get me wrong, I'd happily do it while watching them, you know what I mean?
I got a message about you earlier on that somebody seen your clips on YouTube. It was man free food.
That's no me, honestly, Ox, that's no me. No, but that's a good shout, by Stardog. Troy Deeney's a fantastic player. I'd love to see him battering defences about up there, you know.
I think Rangers could pull him?
Well, his contract's up, you know.
I'd rather have just offered him a decent contract than gone to the A-Games.
I think it's the wages thing. You know, I mean, he's coming near the end of his career. That's the thing. He's like 30 now or something. But I think he'll get a good salary down there somewhere. I think somebody will take him on because he's on a free now. I mean, you get him on a free if you're down south.
But also remember, he was going in for an operation, mate.
Well, that's true. I know he wasn't he? Aye. But no, it's a good shout. It's a brilliant shout by Stardog. He is a fantastic player. If only we could get him, it'd be great. But we certainly need a player like that. I wouldn't mind seeing him up here.
Got a great attitude, that Rudy. You know, he's that type, man. He's a winner. That's the sort of guys. I understand totally what Stardog's saying. Imagine him leading your line, leading your team. He's their captain as well. You know, very often you see a captain as a forward, but he's the type. He's got that type that we crave at, in my belief.
Yeah, definitely.
I believe he'd be a big game player as well, mate. I believe he'd relish an Old Firm derby and things like that. I really do. I think he's everything we need, mate. Everything we'd be looking for in a striker. If you were to give me money and say, look, who would you want to buy? It would have to be somebody like Troy Deeney, mate, if we're keeping it realistic, because I really think we could get him, mate. I think we would have a real chance. I think if Gerrard sits in a room with Andy for half an hour, he would maybe be able to persuade him to come play for this club, mate, because we're massive and all. Let's not forget that.
I hope you're right, Starlock, and maybe a big draw to Troy Deeney with a chance of playing European football as well, you know.
It might also
Correct.
give you a chance, isn't it? Obviously, it's just big wages. There's no transfer involved.
Oh, it's just the big wages,
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Exactly.
All right, I get it. Great shout, Stardog. Good to see how you think when your mind's clear.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think that's all it's clear, but there you go. You know what they say, no, empty the tanks, boy, empty the tanks.
We're on a Stevie G train, but Stardog was definitely on a train.
You've always got a load of
Was it one of
Tom
the
Ford
nights, was it? Was there a train involved?
Poor Chelsea, poor Chelsea. Right, we'll see where that takes us. Interesting, that Stardog, a good shout, quality player. You never know, but we'll see where it takes us. What's got Shandy for Leeds for us, Andy? But nothing seems to spring. We got all these rumours and then they just appear in the jersey on. The press don't seem to be getting anything off us now, and maybe that's annoying them where they're getting all these rumours.
Well, I think that's you just answer it there right enough. I think the fact that they're getting nothing, they're just coming up with anybody that can pick out the hat right enough. I think it's good that way that we're doing, but just like you say, get some players, you know what I mean. But it's good that we're keeping them quiet. It's gnashing away at them, isn't it? You know. And
just going to cut across you, Andy. I've just did breaking news for the club, mate. Breaking news for the club. It's breaking that Jordan Jones has been told he can leave Rangers. Steven Gerrard has informed the Northern Ireland International that he's not in his first team plans. The Rangers boss has told the 25-year-old they won't stand in his way if he can get a move this summer.
Wow.
I think that's a mistake. No, I think that's a mistake. I don't think the guy's been given a fair crack at the whip.
I think it's off the pitch, mate, in my opinion. Jordan.
I think the things that's happened there. But you're right there, Port. Aye.
We can't afford stuff like that this year, Jimmy. And I think Gerrard over the next few days, in my opinion, guys will be telling a few other guys, look, try and get a club. I think we need to clear decks to get their players.
He's clearing the decks for Troy Deeney. He's clearing the decks for Troy Deeney.
Hopefully. I hope you're right.
I think Stardog's got more chance of pulling Troy Deeney, to be honest.
Could you rephrase that, please? This is a family show.
I think, listen, when a manager doesn't like somebody personality-wise, I know managers through the ages have played people they don't like, but if he doesn't rate you, doesn't play you, either the club's got to get there or you've got to decide you want to go, because the boys don't be near the first team, but he either doesn't like him or doesn't like him.
I think Greg Docherty finds himself in the same position, Knox, too. I think you'll see him go in the next couple of weeks or so.
And McCrory, I think, as well, mate.
Possibly, aye.
Do you think the best? Sorry, Jimmy.
Do you think the story that Docherty for Canberra's dead now? Do you think that's finished?
I just don't see Canberra came in and tried very hard for this. I think we just need somebody's a wee bit more quality than Canberra with the greatest respect.
Yeah, I think that would have been a very easy deal today, mate. I think that if that deal was going to be done, it would have been done now.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't want it. And see with the Jordan Jones thing as well, Jimmy, I can see your point with him not getting a crack at the whip, but we've all said on here ourselves, mate, we can't afford any passengers this year, mate. And unfortunately for Jordan Jones, he's became one of them, man, isn't he? Really?
Well, he's been a bit. You're right, mate. He's been a bit of a naughty boy lately, and that as I've saw. So the manager's not going to suffer fools gladly. So his decision is that, and you've got to abide with that. But I'd like to see them give a chance. That's just I like him as a player, and I was looking for a lot of big things from him, but it's not going to be, unfortunately.
I tell you, you'll never get an opportunity like that again, Jimmy, will he?
Never, mate, never.
I was the same as you, Jimmy. I was very excited with Jordan Jones because I remember him putting cracking performances against us, and I always rated him. I watched him for Northern Ireland as well during the Euros, and some games against them he looked immense. Against Midtjylland he was pretty good that night as well. So Gerrard gives him a platform, mate. some players come to your club and just don't take the opportunity, and then if you've got a bad attitude, you don't show it in training, or then you do things off the pitch. The manager's already done your case regarding your playing level, your training levels. But when you start messing about off the pitch and start making front pages of newspapers and stuff, then you're absolutely burning your bridges, mate.
Of course you're, mate.
I think he's just as thick as mince, to be honest with you.
Aye, well, good point, mate. Good point. He's wasted a massive opportunity.
Aye, but I think the manager's got a responsibility to the club in it.
Yep.
If he's wanting to move players on, and I think that's the hardest bit of the game in management, moving players on that you want to get rid of, because I don't know how much Jones is on. Let's say he's on $5,000. I'm just using that as a number, 10 grand, whatever you pick out there. If you've got 4 players like that and you want to sign 2 quality players at 20 grand, that are going to be in your team, no sitting in the stand. That's the hard bit of football management. Startup.
Aye, 100%, mate. You know, we've seen it in the past. We'll go to Andy Halliday, mate. You know what I mean? We all know where his heart was. His heart was in the club, and I believe he did try 100%, mate, every time he put on the Rangers jersey. But look, if the standard and the quality isn't good enough, mate, and unfortunately, and we've all said it on here numerous times, we just can't afford any passengers. We've just seen too many early years. We've seen too many with great expectations that haven't lived up to the standards that we're supposed to. And we need winners, mate. We need boys that are ready 100% for every single match game. And Stevie G's obviously not seen it for these boys in training, mate. You know, the Jordan Jones thing, like Port Bear's saying, if you're doing things outside the football, the manager's going to have an extra eye on you in training to see if it's affecting your performances. And I'm not saying that's what it is. But, you know, it could be things like that, mate, and he just couldn't maybe not be the player for him. And it'll be the same with Greg Stewart, Greg Docherty, and Ross McCrory, I feel, mate. I think the 4 of them are in danger of maybe losing their Rangers careers.
All right. We'll see. It'll be interesting. And by the way, I don't know him. I get the thing with the Jordan Jones, Ross McCrory, the fans like him. Greg Docherty, the fans like him. But we just don't maybe feel the quality that we need at this time, and they would go with our best wishes, but they've got a career to think about as well. But they'll not maybe move if the deal's not right for them. Rudy Bear.
Well, you know yourself, football's a short career, Ox, isn't it? You know, so football players have always got families to bills to pay, families to look after, so they obviously want to make as much money as they possibly can. We all do, that's how life is, you know, you've got family to protect and look after and stuff. So, if they don't get the deal that they're looking for, I've saw it before, players have just sat out their contract, you know, you can't make them go if you gave them a contract, so therefore you can't make them go. So whatever offers they get, the likes of Greg Stewart and, you know, Greg Docherty and whoever else that Steven Gerrard decides isn't in his plans, if they don't get something that seems attractive to them, and maybe for some of them it might not just be about playing football, unfortunately, you know, some of them possibly will be about the finance side of things, then you can't make them go, Ox, innit? As you've just said, it's the hardest part of football nowadays. You know, players nowadays compared to, you know, maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, players nowadays they've a lot more power nowadays, players. You know, they're in charge of their life a lot more with the agents running their business for them than players, you know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, all that kind of stuff. So, if they don't want to go, you can't make them go. We've had players that we should have just probably never assigned in the first place, and they've just sat out their contract, haven't they? Collected their wages every week and gave us next to nothing back. I just hope the ones that need to go just go quickly, go soon, go quickly, get them out the club as quickly as possible. No disrespect to Greg Docherty. I like Greg Docherty when he came in. I liked him at Hamilton. But he's just knowing the manager's plans. You can see that. He's just knowing his plans. So if he's got to go, get him the boy at the door as quickly as possible, get him another club, and then we move on as a club, and it frees up wages in the wage billocks.
I will see where that takes us. But I mean, because the manager wants rid of you, JFK, doesn't mean you have to go, does it?
No, I mean, some of these guys will be sitting in a decent contract. You know, I dare say Greg Docherty is, and so's McCrory. I mean, I know he went down to Portsmouth. I don't know if he'll be returning there. But look, the guy's on a decent wage, and as Rudy said there, you know, it doesn't necessarily need to say he's got to go. If he's got to protect his pay, then he'll stay where he is. And a lot of players have done that in the past, unfortunately, and taken the money and just sat about doing whatever they've got to do in a day-to-day basis. So I agree 100%. We need to get these guys off the books if they're not going to be part of what I would say, our 25-man squad, and bring other players in on the wages that we'd be saving. So, if unfortunately it's going to be for me, I would say unfortunately for Jordan Jones, because who I do like as a player. But I've always maintained about Greg Docherty and McCrory. I don't see them in any part of Rangers whatsoever, mate. So the quicker they're off the books, the better for me. Apart from the young goalkeeper Robbie, I'd keep him because I think he's going to be a future number one at Rangers.
Stardog, what I would question, and this is a criticism of Stevie G and his backroom staff. If Jordan Jones isn't good enough, or his character's no right for us also, have they done their homework?
No, mate, there's no. I know he was a free agent and things like that, but that doesn't make it right. That doesn't make him the right player just because he's free. Do you know what I mean? Or because he's got a bit of pace or whatever. You know, there's been a few players, mate. I mean, you go back to the boy Ajari as well. You know, maybe Barisic when he first came in, but he's maybe the only one that kind of get error. If you look at Eros Grezda as well, you know, he's maybe got a wee bit of a track record for signing players with attitude problems. Whereas, for me, mate, you've got a player there in Greg Docherty. If he got a consistent run in the team, I really could see him developing into a really, really good player for us, mate. Like, I just think he needs consistency because it's been a mistake. He goes everywhere else and he's ripping stuff up, mate. He's brilliant. He's brilliant everywhere else he goes. He gets goals. He gets in the box. He's the best player in everybody else's team. So for me, mate, there is an attitude problem with some of them, but in the same sense, like I said, Greg Docherty, I'd say him in particular, he's maybe been treated a bit unfairly, mate. He's not really had a chance, I would say.
Oxshire, in the lobby, I don't know if you see Marsden's comments, and I think they're quite appropriate. I don't know the full details of Jordan Jones, but Marsden Bear saying that could we maybe get a fee for Jordan Jones, or has he been let go for free? What is it?
They're saying he can find another club, mate. Then it'll be you come to a deal, won't it?
Well, I would hope so, because if we could get some sort of money for him.
If he's on a 3-year deal, mate, and we're going to be paying him $7,000 a week, we're going to pay him 700,000. So if he goes for nothing, we've saved 700,000, mate.
So they're just told me can find another club.
I don't know the details.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It was Marsden's put it up in the Marsden Bears put it up in the lobby that it'd be nice if he's going to go. It'd be nice to get a fee for him. It must be worth something.
But what I'm saying is, your fee is you're saving the 700,000. Because you can sit there for 2 years, yeah.
I understand that, but if there was a fee involved, it'd be nice to get the money. I know.
Would you pay a fee?
No, I still suppose I would, but you know.
When somebody's been told they can leave a club, you'd say, "Well, I'll take him off your books," but you know.
Yep, understand that. Yep, it'd be nice to get something from him.
There's nothing worse, Jimmy, you're saying, and people go to your club and you know you're not getting a fee.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like that myself. It's a bad taste in my mouth. But what just saying, you know, sort of just take him off our hands and save 700,000. Maybe it's still money in the bank, effectively. You know, because you're saving on wages. He'll not be short of offers, Jimmy. You know what? I'm like you, mate. I rate him, but he just maybe Rangers are just too big for him. I don't know, mate.
Was he a Mark Allen signing? Was he a Mark Allen signing?
He was, aye.
Maybe that's the problem.
I would have taken for him for Middlesbrough in January, mate. If that was the case, if he wanted rid of him, because Middlesbrough were going to buy him in January, will they know?
We looked at him.
We don't know, mate. We don't know. Was he not just coming back for injury then? Because he got an injury right at the start, and you know.
I mean, there Marsden again said Michael O'Neill at Stoke might go for him.
He might.
Aye.
You never know. Anyway, gentlemen, we've reached that time of the evening. Can I thank everybody for joining us? Great to hear all about Andy. Young Davey who joined us the night. All the callers who joined us. Can I thank Bridgeman, of course, Port Bear, JFK, Rudy. Great to hear from Stardog. With that big smile on his face. I don't know why. Thanks to all the callers. Thanks to everybody for listening. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night, really building up to the first league game of the season, 2020-21. Take it away, Old School Blue.